Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. This is the first kind of home match day of the season. I say kind of home match day because we are technically at home, but it's not at home, if you get what I mean. It's in Glasgow, so it's home, but it's not really home because home is Ibrox and it will always be home. Hampden is in Glasgow, which is home, but it's not home, if you kind of get where I'm going with this. So today we take on Motherwell at 3 o'clock, a 3 o'clock kickoff. Do you know what? Footballers God intended it to be played 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Bizarre, revolutionary, strange. But yes, it is. Anyway, come and join us for our live watch along later here on the channel, guys. And Breaking Team News pod as well. Bring you all that information today as it comes. And obviously, as many of you as possible, get in and watch the game with us. It will be great to have your thoughts, news, and opinions. Now, I've got to say, you know what? I back the manager, 100% back the manager. I think he is the man long term who can turn this club round. I think he is a real, proper, genuine manager. However, I've got to say, sometimes I watch his press conferences and, when when he first came to the club and we watched his press conferences, and I think we all kind of said, yes, this is the man. He talks very professionally. He talks, much more professionally than that used car salesman Michael Beale. It was just an unmitigated disaster with some of the stuff that used to come out of his mouth. He would certainly change his tune from week to week, and it would be one thing one week and then the complete opposite of what he said the previous week, which was just undermining himself. But Clement, I think, we all kind of thought at the start, yeah, great, fantastic, great to get a real football man in, someone with some media savvy, someone who knows how to handle the media, particularly the Rangers media, who are a mixed bunch, aren't they? We've got some of the media and the fan media who are fantastic at their jobs, and we've got other members of the fan media and the media who are just genuinely useless. And I don't know why they bother going to press conferences other than perhaps the fact that they can tell their mates down the pub they go to Rangers press conferences. Anyway, now there's a couple of things that came out of the presser today which I found slightly bizarre. So the first one was regarding new signing Václav Černý. Now, Václav Černý came on Tuesday night against Dynamo Kiev, and I thought he looked really good. I thought we actually looked a lot better, a lot more balanced with him on that right wing. I thought him and Dio linked very well. I thought he did a very good job, and obviously he got the assist for the goal. A fantastic finish by Cyril Dessers, but that finish would have been possible without the fantastic ball in, laying it on a plate for Cyril Dessers by Václav Černý. And like I said, Černý certainly looked good since he's come into the team. Now, Philippe Clement obviously was asked about the new signings, time to settle in, time to actually get them involved in the first team. I think we all hope that we see Robin Proper, we all see Václav Černý this weekend, and we all see Hefte and all those players. Now, in response to this talking about starting Černý, playing Černý from the start, this is what Philippe Clement said. I mean, the good thing that we've got to take from it is the fact that he said there are no knocks, no injuries after midweek, which is a positive. I mean, that is just unheard of. I mean, to have a Rangers news conference where nobody is talking about who is injured and any new injuries and the disaster of that injury, and it's sounding more like an episode of ER rather than like a football press conference. It's good to hear. Now, this is what Clement went on to say. So I need results and to help players grow. Černý has had 6 training sessions now, so people can't expect him to play 90 minutes for now. We will integrate the new players into our team. Why can't we expect him to play 90 minutes? He's had 6 training sessions. Okay. So, yeah, he is still rebuilding his fitness after the Euros. He had that holiday after the Euros, but he still had 6 training sessions and he's looked pretty good whenever he's come on. And, he's a very, very much probably the best winger we've got on our books at this moment in time. And when you think and consider the alternatives to Ross McCausland and Scott Wright, you do kind of think, well, realistically, even a kind of 75 to 80% fit Václav Černy's got to be better than a 100% fit Scott Wright, for example. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think my 70-year-old mother is a better bet than a 100% fit Scott Wright. Scott Wright's just, I must admit, whenever I see his name on the team show, I'm just like, why, how, what, when, where, why, when, where, what, why? My head almost explodes. But, I just find this comment a little bit weird, again, by Philippe Clement. And I honestly sometimes feel that some of the comments that he comes out with at times, like the Robin Proper's tired because he's been, doing DIY or whatever it was he's been doing. And these comments that come out of his mouth at times, I just honestly sit there and I just genuinely think Is this a kind of a breakdown in, the fact that English is his second language, and perhaps the literal translation from French to or Belgian, whatever he speaks, Flemish to English is is not quite there, and he's still got to learn the nuances of the English language. Is that it, or he genuinely thinks this? Because it honestly just seems like it's our club. It just seems like it's Rangers that have these very bizarre thoughts, these very bizarre, situations where players can't play straight away. Players come into the club and they're not considered fully fit enough. Players, it just bamboozles me, really, this argument that, that he's only had 6 training sessions, so therefore he can't play 90 minutes. Well, you know what? I'd say that, yes, he can play 90 minutes because he's made 6 training sessions. He's been involved in pre-season to some degree. He's trained with the squad. He'll have done fitness work, and I can't imagine his fitness levels will have dropped off that much from the Euros with a couple of weeks on holiday. I mean, can you imagine you and I going back to work and after a holiday and saying to the boss, "Look, boss, we can't do an 8-hour shift or a 10-hour shift. We've got to build back up to it. I can't work 10 hours today, and I can't do 10 hours for 5 days this week because I've got to build back up to it, boss." I mean, can you imagine what the response would be? There's the door. Do one. I just think this is utterly bizarre. I mean, okay, what I'm saying is not going to change matters. I mean, it's not going to make Philippe Clement feel any differently or react any differently. I know that. I'm 100% on that. But, it's, as fans, we have a right to give an opinion, and we have a right to say what we feel. And I just sometimes genuinely think that the comments that he says and some of the beliefs that he holds are just, quite frankly, weird. I think, if you were to put the situation in the hands of Pep Guardiola or Jurgen Klopp or Mikel Arteta or Carlo Ancelotti, who are probably 4 of the best managers in world football, you wouldn't get the same action from them in terms of new signings. Manchester City sign a player, he plays pretty much from the start, from game one. As soon as he signed, the same at Real Madrid. Real Madrid, signed Jude Bellingham. Did Jude Bellingham have, no, he can't start yet. No, he only had a certain number of training sessions. No, he's not settled in. He's had to move house. All this. Just utter bollocks, in my opinion. Utter rubbish. I don't get it. I must admit, I don't get it. So, look, I think the probability is, again, that we're going to see Scott Wright or Ross McCausland from the start against Motherwell on Saturday, which fills me with dread. Fills me with genuine dread. Now, the other player who was directly mentioned in the press conference was Hefte. Now, Hefte came on Tuesday night and played left wing and was absolutely outstanding. I think changed the game to some degree. I mean, I know why he was brought on. It was to shore up the defence because Ridvan was getting a little bit overrun because Scott Wright might as well not have bothered in the game. But when Hefte came on, he showed energy, he showed spirit, he showed speed, he showed quality. His delivery from crosses was absolutely excellent. I mean, his cross accuracy delivery rate was 44%, which was better than Tav's, which was better than McCausland, which was better than Wright, which was better than anyone else who's on the field. So, 44% is just outstanding. It's absolutely excellent. And, you saw how much he celebrated the goal as well, how much that meant to him. This is a player that, is an excellent player. And Clement said as much, didn't he, in his press conference today, that he was a very technically gifted player, a very physically strong player. And he'd been tracked by not just Rangers, but a number of clubs around Europe. So again, of course, there was a discussion around him and his, chance to start. This is what he said, Philippe, about Hefte. "We are continuing in the next weeks and months to improve as we work together. Hefte, I know, is a possibility to play in a more advanced position. He is a very talented player for the future. He is only 20 and he will learn quickly." I think from that and what else he said, I think there's absolutely zero chance that he'll use Hefte from the start on the left wing tomorrow, which is unfortunate because I think that, he accidentally, I don't think, he directly stumbled, he directly planned it. He may have stumbled upon it, but, the Hefte in front of Ridvan actually looked very, very good for Rangers. And I honestly think that would be a really good thing to do today against Motherwell. Hefte on the pitch at Hampden will have time, space to get in, get the balls into the box, create a bit of havoc, put some balls in for Dessers to attack. I just think that, again, to sort of rule this out as if, it's, oh no, he's too young, he's too inexperienced, he's not, and he's got too much left to learn. Realistically, actually, Philippe, it's not the attacking side of the game he has to learn. That's actually quite good. It's the defensive side of the game that he needs to work on. So again, this is another one where I kind of just sit there. And I mean, that quote doesn't give the full information. If you listen to the press conference, you'll hear what he said. But, it's another one of those quotes, those comments that you just sit there and kind of go, what, why, how, when, how, what are you on about? For me, you've got to pick your best players from the start, and you've got to go at it from the start, get the game won, and then you make your changes. And for me, Václav Černý wide right, Hefte wide left is the best two wingers we've got at the moment at this club. Now, long term, is that the case? Who knows? We could still sign players. Cortez could come back. These are all possibilities and unknowns at this moment in time. But, looking at the assessment of the players at this present moment of who are fit, who are able to play, who are ready to go, you've got to say that the best options, looking at their performances over the last couple of games, is Hefte wide left and Václav Černý wide right. Now, do I think this will happen on Saturday against Motherwell? No, I don't. Do I think we'll see Scott Wright or Sterling or McCausland or Matondo wide? Yeah, I think we probably will from the start. And I think a lot of us will be sitting when the team sheet comes out about 1:45 on Saturday, on today. And we'll go, what the genuine, what, how, what? I do kind of sometimes just think some of his comments and his decisions over players and player availability and, when the players can actually play yet. It's just a very, very bizarre process for Philippe Clement. Genuinely is. Okay, now, look, I'm going to talk about something and some of you are going to turn off. But this is a genuine story. This was actually quoted in a number of sources. Todd Cantwell is back training with the first team. Yes, that's right. The Blonde Prince is back with the first team. Now, Clement did originally say that he would train with the B team until he left, that Cantwell had handed in this request, wanted to leave. Philippe Clement very successfully dodged the question about Cantwell, and to some degree about Hadji as well. To talk about the fact that it's not down to him how much players go for or where they go. That's for somebody else. He just signs off on deals or says the type of player that he wants. It's not his business. That isn't what he gets involved in, which is fair enough. But this news that Cantwell is back kind of links in, back in the first training with the first team, kind of links in a little bit to what Clement said about the fact that the door is open for any player to return should they show the right attitude and willing to play. But certainly it's a surprise for me, and I'm not suggesting for a minute we're going to see Cantwell on the bench or start today. So this is recorded. I'm recording this video at 23 minutes past 1 in the morning. So technically it is still today, but it's kind of like still yesterday because I haven't been to bed yet after work. Todd Cantwell, he is back training with the squad. And I just wanted to kind of bring that story across. I don't think it kind of says anything in particular. I don't think he's going to start anytime soon. I think he's going to play anytime soon unless something comes out, in the next 24 hours or next week about him, reneging on his transfer request and deciding he wants to stay and fight for his place and fight for the club. Who knows? But it just seems very odd that he's back with the first team when, he had kind of been resigned to the B team. And, why is he back with the first team? Why is he back, in the first team squad training, given what's been said? So a very weird one for me, a very, very strange one. Okay, so today against Motherwell, it's a game, we really do need to be winning, with the fact that obviously we drew our opening game and Celtic won, putting them 2 points ahead of us. They've got a vastly superior goal difference already. So it's a must-win game in effect. It's the first home game. Philippe Clement today spoke about, the 50,000 people at Hampden roaring Rangers on and the atmosphere being good when the ground was a half and half. So it should be twice as good when we've got the vast majority of the seats. Look, historically, as I mentioned on the preview video, we've got a very good record against Motherwell. We don't concede a lot against them. We average over 2 goals per game. We've won more. We've only lost. I think it's 4 of the games against them in our competitions. Yes, the last time we played them, it was a defeat. That 2-1 defeat at Ibrox, which it was pretty poor. It was one of the worst performances we'd seen all of last season. So look. Today, it's a game we need to win. It's a game we need to put in. Now, in terms of starting lineups, I spoke about my starting lineup that I would play on the preview video yesterday. I do think Clement will go with, a fairly normal formation. I think he'll go with a 4-2-3-1 again. I think he'll go with Butland in goal. I think he'll go Tav at right back, unfortunately. For me, it should be Sterling. He'll go with, I think, Suter and Proper. I think could well get a start tomorrow. I think he'll probably rest Big Leon, which, considering that, that Davy Weir never had a rest, I don't know why we would kind of rest Big Leon. I think you can't afford to rotate your centre-half pairing. You can't afford to rotate your back four. And that's not something that teams that win championships do. You go back across history, you look at the great Rangers teams, the great Arsenal teams, the great Manchester United teams. It's not something that was done at that point. And I don't think it's still, not something that's done very often either. I mean, look at the Manchester City team of last season. So I think you'll probably go with Suter and Proper because, like I said, you'll probably rest Balogun, Ridvan at left back, Barron and Diamande. I think you'll go with Scott Wright wide right, Tom Lawrence in the 10 role, and possibly out wide left. He may, I think, go for either Ross McCausland or Robbie Matondo, with Cyril Dessers up front, which, for me is not the best lineup. It's not the strongest lineup. I think there's a lot more talent that we can put in place. I'd start Hefte on the left wing. I'd start Tierney on the right wing. I'd put Scott Wright in the stands. I'd start Balogun next to Proper. I certainly wouldn't be starting the team that Clement probably will pick. But you know what? We've all learned, haven't we, that trying to predict Clement's teams are very, very difficult indeed. Well, guys, let me know what you think of this video. Let me think, obviously, as well. You can drop me your comments about today's game. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. Guys, as always, on the way out, there's two things I ask of you. Number one, smash that like. Number two, remember always, we are the people.